Welcome to the Speak Uneasy podcast. Please support my show by like, share, and subscribing to the show. You can find my videos on BitChute, Rumble, and YouTube. Catch my live stream shows on the foxhole.app or pilled.net. Follow my social media on the speakuneasy.tv, pilled.net, Gab, Facebook, Instagram, and CloutHub. You can also financially support the show by donating to my PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, or visit my merchandise store or join my Subscribe Star. You can also financially support the show by donating gold pills via the foxhole.app or pilled.net. All links can be found on the description box. Thank you and welcome to the bar.
Welcome to the Speak Uneasy, a safe space where cancel culture does not exist because we are in a different prohibition era.
Good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Speak Uneasy with your host, the bartender. Tonight's random read is going to come off the Book of Numbers, chapter 9, verses 6 through 14. The defiled can observe Passover later. And there were certain men who were defiled by the dead body of a man, that they could not keep the Passover on that day. And they came before Moses and before Aaron on that day. And those men said unto him, We are defiled by the dead body of a man. Wherefore are we kept back, that we may not offer an offering of the Lord in his appointed season among the children of Israel? And Moses said unto them, Stand still, and I will hear what the Lord will command concerning you. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, If any man of you or of your posterity shall be uncleaned by reason of a dead body, or be in a journey afar of, yet he shall keep the Passover unto the Lord. The 14th day of the second month, at even they shall keep it, and eat it with unleavened bread and bitter herbs. They shall leave none of it unto the morning, nor break any bone of it. According to all ordinances of the Passover, they shall keep it. But the man that is clean, and is not in a journey, and forbeareth to keep the Passover, even the same soul shall be cut off from among his people, because he brought not the offering of the Lord in his appointed season, that man shall bear his sin. And if a stranger shall sojourn among you, and will keep the Passover unto the Lord, according to the ordinance of the Passover, and according to the manner thereof, so shall he do. Ye shall have one ordinance, both for the stranger and for him that was born in the land. Once again, this random read comes from the Book of Numbers, chapter 9, verses 6 through 14. The defiled can observe Passover later. I don't know too much about Passover and what the customs are as far as this goes, as I am still a student and I'm still learning about the Bible and things that went on back then. I wish I had some kind of message that God was trying to say in today's random read, but I don't. This is complicated for me because like I said, I'm still a student. I'm still learning. So that's that for the random read. Tonight we will not be serving any cocktails. I need to give myself a break today from drinking a cocktail. I've had my coffee earlier today, so I'm not going to be drinking a coffee neither tonight, nor a hot green tea. But I will tell you this. I have some alkaline water that I am drinking right now. So here's to you healthy folks out there who are trying to make a high alkalized body out there. This is to you. Cheers with alkaline water. And on to the show. So the first article of review comes from Breitbart.com, and article is written by Victoria Friedman, published on September 20th of this year. Article reads, children going to hospital with mental health problems jumps 50% since start of pandemic report. And of course, it did not read pandemic. There's words that I'm ad-libbing there because if you've listened to the show long enough, you know that I'd ad-lib a few words here and there, only because I don't want to call it for something that it's really not. Dyslexia is just kicking in right now. The number of children who went to accident and emergency in England suffering from severe mental health problems increased by more than 50% since the beginning of the Chinese Charlie Victor pandemic. An investigation by the Telegraph newspaper and published on Sunday found that there was a 50% increase in children presenting at hospital A&E wards in May 2019. Before the pandemic hit British shores, there were 1,428 cases compared to May of this year, where there were 2,243 child patients. In some parts of the country, referrals for mental health services via the Child and Adolescent Mental Health Services, which is also called the CAMHS, had increased by more than 1/3. Some of the issues found on the rise in young people include self-harm, suicidal thoughts, and eating disorders. Specialists speaking to the newspaper said that youngsters had been adversely affected by the lack of interaction with other children and the long bouts of school closures since March 2020. Such reports have become somewhat common during the era of the Chinese virus. Just earlier this month, it was revealed that youngsters had been prescribed a record number of antidepressants, increasing more than 1/5 in 5 years. A rise in prescriptions was almost equally high for children aged 5 to 11, 20%, as it was for those aged over 11, 23%. What? Wow. Again, specialists and campaigners have pointed to the closure of schools and lockdowns increasing the pressure on children. Early reports have also drawn connections between the 3 lockdowns on England and a rise in prescriptions of antidepressants for children. Mental health pharmacist Beryl Navti said in June, antidepressants are prescribed for both depression and anxiety disorders. And if we are saying that levels of anxiety increased amongst some young people during these periods, it makes sense that there would have been a corresponding increase in prescribed medication. Yeah. Say the obvious, right? Doc, or whatever you are. Medics on the ground had also collected widely reported and at times troubling anecdotal evidence of an increase in children in a mental health crisis going to A&E. Dr. John Wright of Bradford Royal Infirmary had written in February that before the pandemic, children were presenting at emergency wards suffering from mental health problems twice a week, with that figure now being closer to twice a day. Oh my, dude, it's horrible. That is horrible. Some children as young as 10 had tried to commit suicide by overdose or otherwise self-harm, with one patient being 8 years old. My goodness, man. How is that thought even occurring in these kids' brains, man? 10 years old? 8 years old? How would that thought even come? I mean, as a teenager, okay, I kind of get it, because some teenagers can be socially awkward and be kind of antisocial, but with kids who are between ages 8 to 10, like that, even this shouldn't even be an issue here. I'm going to keep on reading. Some mental health specialists had revealed in June 2021 that very young children were unable to adapt to post-lockdown socialization, experiencing problems interacting with other children or making friends in what was described as, quote, locked in trauma. Well, this is damn child abuse. I'm just saying, this is damn child abuse. A specialist had described children as young as 5 having five having anxiety, and one child even experiencing a panic attack after playing with friends. Dude, that is crazy, man. What a time to be alive for these kids, man. While findings from a multi-university study claimed in July that nearly 5 times as many children died from suicide than from the Chinese virus during the first year of the pandemic, saying the risk of removal of children and young people from their normal activities across education and social events may prove a greater risk than of the SARS-CoV-2 itself. Once again, this article came from Breitbart.com, written by Victoria Friedman, and it was published on September 20th of this year. Now, can I even get thoughts on this thing? This is child abuse, is my opinion. Okay, I don't understand the whole. This is affecting children that much, where kids as young as 8 are beginning to freaking think of suicidal thoughts. Like, that's not the stuff that you think about at that age. Like I mentioned earlier, as a teenager, you kind of, there's socially awkward moments, or people who are just not socialites, right? As far as kids go. And I kind of get it, because you're at that acceptance phase of your life, and you're trying to figure out who you are and all sorts of stuff when you're going through teenage life. Trust me, I know. I mean, did I have suicidal thoughts when I was a teenager? Or actually when I was 8 or 10? No. Did I have suicidal thoughts when I was a teenager? I sure did. And it had nothing to do with it did have something to do with socializing, but it was more of a heartbreak from a girl. I thought that my whole world had crashed when I broke up with the first love I've ever had in my life. Well, I thought it was the end of the world. Mind you that I grew up in a broken home, so I didn't even know what a stable relationship was to begin with. You know, um, I felt that I was going to be with this girl for the rest of my life, but apparently that didn't happen. And I'm glad. I'm glad that things didn't turn out the way I thought it would. I'm very happy where I am right now. And I know I'm veering off from this article, but I use myself as an example because, um, I'm just saying that even as a child in an unstable home, I never had suicidal thoughts. I was a child, you know. The difference was I was able to play outside, hang out with my friends, play all sorts of sports to keep myself busy. That was the difference. But I think this has gotten out of hand, where fear is being driven here, and it's not the like the fear from coming, and it's coming from the mainstream media. All this stuff about the pandemic is all coming from social media, not social media, but all coming from mainstream media, and they're using fear to control people. I just contacted. I spoke to my best friend in the whole world yesterday. He lives across the world from where I'm at, and he lives on a little island. And he was telling me how people are giving up their rights for the security of this stupid thing that is not as deadly as it is, as they say it is. And that's very sad to see. That's very sad to hear. So you're telling me that you are willing to lock down the whole island for something that is not even close to what you think it is. And they're using the mainstream media and the government to scare people about all these things. I'd like to say that there is no excuse for falling into traps like this as far as believing what they tell you, because there's something called the internet that you have access to, where you have a plethora of doing your own research. But apparently, people are very lazy. People are very lazy. They don't want to have to spend a few hours to do their own research. And, my thing is, you got to do your own research, because you need to. Okay, so you do the research on both ends, right? Whether it's true or whether it's not. Then you make a determination, within yourself, to see what fits you the best. This is just horrible for kids, though. Do I, then now this is beginning to spark some kind of theories in my head. Like, I understand that this whole pandemic thing was about controlling people, and now that there's jabs for this thing, my thoughts on that is population control. Well, now this is seeping through another part of population control, as they're beginning to destroy little kids as they grow. Because now the little kids are thinking to self-destruct. And that's, that's going to be a lot more easier for those in control to control the population of the whole world. Because it's by these kids' own doing. And I think that's sick. I think that's absolutely disgusting. I mean, think about it. Are my thoughts really that far off to everything that I've been exposed to, as far as like what's really going on in this world? I don't think so. Some of you may think so, but then again, if you think that way, then you probably don't really know what's going on around the world. I really don't think that my thoughts are far-fetched at all. Is it possible? Sure, anything is possible. Anything is possible where they're using these what's the word I'm looking for? These crisis, because this is what it is. It's a crisis, right? The pandemic is a crisis. So they're using this crisis in a way where it advantages them. And I'm talking about the people who run the world. I don't know. You may call them the Illuminati. I don't know. Whatever you call them. Whatever. I call them POSs. That's what I call them, because they don't have any good intentions for any of us. They care about only themselves. They have these puppets in government to make these rules for us, but not for them. So that's where I'm at. I mean, it's good information. This is good information, because now I'm aware that these, suicide rate for kids is going high, and I'll be like, well, why? Well, now I know why, because of this whole purpose to lock down society and not let these kids grow mentally. It's painful. It's painful. Anyways, I'll catch you on the other side after the break, and we will discuss the other article that I have, and I will see you. And welcome back from the break. So the next article of review we have here comes from my go-to, Stupid.news. Article was written by Ramon Tomei and published on September 13th of this year. Article reads, San Francisco retail stores seize operations thanks to new law that decriminalizes shoplifting. Fasten your seatbelts, ladies and gentlemen. This is another California story. Business establishments in San Francisco have been forced to close down over the last 5 years due to shoplifting. An ordinance passed in the city preventing law enforcement from prosecuting shoplifters only made matters worse. This has empowered criminal gangs to commit brazen thefts, causing businesses to lose millions of dollars in merchandise. Back in November 2014, Proposition 47 became a law in the city. Under the ordinance, shoplifting or attempted shoplifting up to $950 of goods would now be downgraded to a misdemeanor. The new law meant that thieves can steal items without worrying about their criminal record. The thefts have also contributed to San Francisco becoming one of the epicenters for organized retail crime in the U.S. Okay, so let me just continue with the article, because I have questions about this. I know a little bit about the law as far as California goes. I know a little bit. And I have a question about this. I mean, of course, I'm not going to get an answer from anybody, but it's just one of those questions I wanted to throw out there. Let me just keep on reading. 2 drugstore chains, CVS and Walgreens, have closed most of their locations in San Francisco because of shoplifting. Alongside other small businesses, the drugstores have reported more than 100% product loss rates as a result. Well, duh. I mean, if you're only going to get a ticket for shoplifting items $950 and below, that's a lot of stuff that you can steal. That's a lot of stuff that you can steal without repercussion, and it's just a ticket. And not only that, but you honestly think these people are going to show up to court with that ticket? Hell no. Hell no. San Francisco District 11 Supervisor Asha Safai said in a statement that organized criminal activity accounts for 85% of business losses in the city, which he described as just shocking. Just shocking? I think it's beyond just shocking. I think it's effing ridiculous to if you ask me. The supervisor elaborated. Criminal gangs will rob about maybe $1,000 to $2,000 worth of goods from 10 stores or more in a single day. So that exceeds the $950, obviously, right? According to reports, Walgreens has closed 17 stores over the last 5 years due to thefts. The store closures have had negative repercussions on the communities the Walgreens stores serve. It impacts everyone, seniors, families, and small businesses, Safai remarked. Meanwhile, CVS Organized Retail Crime and Corporate Investigations Director Brendan Dugan confirmed the shoplifting in San Francisco stores. He commented, at CVS, 42% of losses within the Bay Area got here from 12 shops in San Francisco. They are solely 8% of the market share. The CVS and Walgreens closures mainly impacted two categories of people, namely vulnerable elderly residents and those who do not access to vehicles. Elderly patients are forced to go far to get their necessary prescriptions filled, as most of these stores also serve as pharmacies. Residents without cars are meanwhile forced to travel several miles just to shop. Criminal reform laws, in quotes, espoused by the, of course, Democrats, and their repercussion only lead to further collapse. Well, you can always count on a Democrat to destroy something. According to Safai, residents are now afraid to enter stores because of, quote, uncontrolled gang roaming store aisles. It's simply taking place overtly, Safai remarked. The supervisor called on prosecutors and law enforcement to do a better job at protecting these businesses. But how can you? You kind of took that power away from them, you idiots. He commented, it's not that nothing has been done, but certainly we need to do better. What does that mean, dude? You guys are making these stupid laws for these people to get away with that stuff. I don't think any cop would go above and beyond for a misdemeanor. It's a lot of work for something that's not even. Who even knows if they're gonna file for criminal charges for a freaking site, dude? This is crazy. Proposition 47 supporters said the money saved from passing the measure would be redirected to social welfare programs tackling several issues. Bullshit, man. Bullshit. This is stupid. You're creating the problem is what you're doing. This Proposition 47 is creating its own problem. It's not solving a problem. It's actually creating this problem and making it even worse. Incidentally, New York City came up with a similar proposal. Talk about another state that's fallen apart. Back in June of last year. A June 2020 Bloomberg report said Mayor Bill de Blasio presented a plan to the city council to shift about $1 billion from the police budget to social programs. Well, good luck with that. As a matter of fact, I think a lot of the cops did you guys a favor by turning in their retirement and quitting. So now they're short cops. I'm just saying. The mayor added that aside from the $1 billion budget cut at the New York Police Department, he also proposed that a separate $500 million be slashed from the department's allocation. Dude, this is crazy, man. Let me continue. This would then be used toward youth recreation centers and public housing. However, Police Benevolent Association President Patrick Lynch denounced that de Blasio's budget cuts. The head of the police union slammed the mayor and the city council for having surrendered to lawlessness. You think? Defunding the NYPD came with severe consequences as the city experienced a spike in shooting incidences. That's what happens. 2 months after de Blasio announced the police budget cuts, the Big Apple saw more than 50 shootings-related deaths in 3 days. NYPD figures revealed that the city saw a 220% rise in shootings in 2020 compared to the year before. According to the department, bail reforms passed into law in 2019 prevented criminals from serving jail time even after repeated arrests, which, in my opinion, you're probably going to see criminals come in more than once in one day for some petty shit. And that's just the way it is because they're not keeping them in there. The chaotic situation in New York City even led former President Donald Trump to warn de Blojabio. Trump tweeted that the federal government would step in to address the rising gun violence if the mayor cannot do so. Later in the year, former General Attorney William Barr cited New York City, Portland, and Seattle as 3 places that allowed violence and destruction of property to continue. He said in a September 2020 statement, "When state and local leaders impede their own law enforcement officers and agencies from doing their jobs, it endangers innocent citizens who deserve to be protected." Barr also warned that the Department of Justice, which is, I have qualms on them, cannot allow federal tax dollars to be wasted when the safety of the citizenry hangs in the balance. Once again, this article comes from stupid.news, written by Ramon Tomei, and it was published on September 13th of this year. Okay. All right. So the thing that the question that I had about this, right? So okay, don't quote me on this. I mean, I'm just kind of I'm paraphrasing when I say something like this. So here's my understanding of what a burglary is. Okay, and just bear with me where I'm going with this. So burglary, as defined in California, in the California Penal Code, burglary is entering a it's okay, pretty much it's like entering a building with the intent to commit a felony. Okay, it could be any type of felony, or also having the intent of what's the word I'm looking for? Anyways, so if you go into a store, and your intention is to take something without even paying for it, and mind you, burglary is a felony. My question comes where, well, how is this not burglary? I mean, is it because of the amount of the value of the item that's being stolen? I mean, your intention already is to go in there and commit a crime. Not necessarily a felony, but you already have intentions of taking something and just walking out without paying for it. So where does it become, I mean, you have the intent to do something there, right? To commit a crime. I guess it's word semantics, but you know, the separation there, I guess, is the penalty, because you can go ahead and go into one store and steal something that's about $950 worth, walk out, not pay for it, and just get a ticket. And then I don't know, do you include taxes? I don't know, man. I don't know. Oh my gosh. But here's what I'm alluding to. Like, this is stupid. This is dumb. And I don't know how they think that they're going to fix this problem by defunding cops when you're taking away resources from them to do their jobs. I don't get it. I don't get it. And I don't, these stores are having to shut down, but I guess you can. Okay, so here's another angle that I'm looking at that may be good. I don't know, but it also could be affecting other small businesses, right? And I'm not talking about these chain pharmaceutical stores. I'm talking about like the mom and pop pharmaceutical stores. Like they could be picking up on customers because of these big pharmaceutical not companies, but like the chain stores. They're closing shop, so now possibly, maybe, I would think that there's more businesses going to the small business. I don't know. It's an interesting angle, I think, that it's not being looked at. What's their statistics? Are they beginning to see the same increase in shoplifting as well? I don't know. Then again, San Francisco is just it's out of control. Like they're allowing these homeless people just to take a dump out in the sidewalks. The city has people that get paid who are professional pooper scoopers. So yeah, San Francisco. I don't know, man. It's I don't I don't know what to say about it. It's a toilet. It's a place to just squat down and take a dump. I don't know. But I wanted to share that article to share the insanity of California Democrats and how they try to fix problems by creating another problem. It's like a dog chasing its own tail. There's never an end. There's never an end to the problem. It just keeps it's playing hot potato with the problem is what that is. I don't know. I really feel for you guys that live out in California, and I do still travel, back and forth here and there, only because of work purposes. But that journey is about, like, that chapter in my life is almost gonna close. It's almost done. And I'm happy I'm very content that it's done. It allows me it gives me a little more freedom to do this now, and it gives me more freedom to let people know a little bit more about me. But in due time, I will definitely share experiences that I've been through in my soon to be old employer. So, anyways, good talk, guys. I know I bounced all over the place, and usually that happens because my mind races. Like, I would be reading this and thinking one thing and then thinking another, and I don't mean to confuse people out there. It's just the way my brain works, and sometimes it's hard to follow. I understand that. I really, I'm sorry that I can be hard to follow sometimes. But this is the best way I can put information out there, the best I can, and the most raw I can as well. I mean, as you know, I don't really edit any of these recorded podcasts that I do, because I want you guys to hear the original me. Like, this is all my thoughts just on the top of my head at the moment. So, now that I'm about to close the show, I'm going to do my little plug here. You can support the show financially through my Venmo, PayPal, Cash App sites, or you can go to my merchandise store and support me that way too. I still have a 10% sale off of the merchandise store going all the way to the end of September, and the coupon code in all caps is drinks number 4 number 1 number 3. Okay, drinks 413. So I also have a website, thespeakuneasy.tv. Feel free to give us a visit sometime. I know I have to update that website. I have so much work I do, and I do this all by myself. And I'm not trying to make anybody feel sorry for me or anything like that, but I'm I'm a one-man show, and I'm trying to get my wife involved to help me out with this, but even that's a task in itself, because she has housework that she has to do around here. And she also has our daughter she has to help, as my daughter is homeschooled. So it's just a whole, it's just a lot of work. It really is a lot of work. But nonetheless, I appreciate you guys stopping by, listening to me. I know I don't have that much listeners, but you can also check me out too. I mean, check me out. I do live shows on thefoxhole.app or pilled.net. You can catch me there too. Follow my social media. I believe I'm in Gab. I'm in CloutHub, Instagram, and Facebook. Give me a follow there, so you'll know when the next live show is. And I open it up like a bar. Like I do the whole mixed drink stuff, and same thing I do here. Same thing I do, but I interact with you guys on the chats. So give those websites check it out. So anyways, as I end every show, as I really end it, not really end, but as I end every show, with that being said,
the bar is now closed.
I can't help but wonder if I'm under a spell. It's more than a passing notion. I've never fallen with such devotion. I can't help but wonder if it's only a dream. Am I naive or can I believe that things are really as they seem? Can anyone explain how to understand what's true? I know I just can't tame it. Whenever I'm with you, I can't help but wonder if you wonder about me. 'Cause lately I can't help but wonder how wonderful this might be. Can anyone explain it? ought to understand what's true. I know I just can't take it whenever I'm with you. I can't help but wonder if you wonder about me. 'Cause lately I can't help but wonder how wonderful this might be. 'Cause lately I can't help but wonder how wonderful this might be.